Hi, and welcome to Everyday Creative. Today I'm going to tune up my Melodica because, well, they drift out of tune a little bit. So this one's really bad. Listen to the C sharp and D. They're practically the same note. So it makes it unplayable. There's lots of great videos about how to tune a Melodica. What makes this video different? I watched all the other videos and a lot of them had great parts, and hopefully I took all the best pieces of those other videos and I put them in here. You're going to need a tiny screwdriver. You're going to need some kind of straw or the secret invention, which I'll talk about later. You're going to need a tuner app on whatever device you use, and you're going to need some kind of tiny file. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check all the notes on the Melodica and see which ones are out of tune, because I don't want to have keys that don't need tuning. So let's get started. So I'll tell you one interesting thing that I learned. When you play the Melodica, you should tune it so that it's a little bit sharp, because when you blow harder, the pitch will correct itself down to the correct note. So let me find one that's sharp here. All right, so my G4 is just a little bit sharp, and I'm just going to see what happens to the pitch when I try and blow harder. And it's true, the pitch does come down. So the first part here is pretty boring. I'm just going to go through the keyboard and I'm just going to write down whether the notes are sharp or flat. Okay, I tested them all out, and about 2/3 of the notes are okay, but the rest of them are sharp or flat. Some are really bad, like this one. Ouch, but at least I know which ones I need to concentrate on now. All right, I'm ready to start taking the Melodica apart. I like to have some place to put screws. First thing we're gonna find on the Melodica is the back cover, and so there's 6 screws in here. This is just a protective covering and doesn't affect the sound of the Melodica. You can still play the Melodica with the back cover removed. The good news is that you don't have to put the back cover on every time you want to test the Melodica. Let's take a look at the back here. You can see how the Melodica functions. Each key has a little spring which returns it back to place. Now we can see the second cover, which is inside, and it's hermetically sealed, which means that when you blow into the Melodica, your breath will stay inside of it and only escape when you push down a key. There's 5 screws on this layer, and they're a different size from the outside layer, so you won't get them confused. Let's take off the interior cover. It's connected on one end to the mouthpiece, and on the other end it's connected, well, it's just kind of connected. You'll have to lift it up and pull it out gently. Once you get the back cover off, you can see all of the little metal reeds. You'll notice that some of them are longer than others, but right now it's impossible for the Melodica to make any sound because there's no air blowing over the reeds. Obviously, to tune it, the reeds have to vibrate, so the question becomes, what is the best way to get air to travel over the reed? For benefit and mine, I tried out a couple of different techniques. The first thing I did is I just tried blowing on the reed and nothing happened. And I also tried a small straw and a big straw, and then I tried out the special device. Here's the attempt with the small straw, and it didn't work so well. Here's trying out the big straw, and that works just fine. So the straws are a little frustrating, and you get a lot of precipitation, aka spit, all over the Melodica. Which brings me to this little doodad, the Melodica tuning device MTD. I asked my old college roommate to design a device that would allow me to blow on only one key at a time, so he came up with this after many, many iterations. And one cool thing about it is that you can actually plug in the Melodica breath tube right into it and place it right over the reed, and now you will only be blowing on the one reed at a time. This thing's amazing. You can design one for yourself, and I highly recommend it because it just saves so much time. Before we start tuning, let's take a look at the reed. So the reed is just a little piece of metal, and it's attached here and it sticks out this way. This part here is a little flap. So one thing you're going to need, I have a little index card, and when you actually do the tuning, you're going to slip it underneath, and that will prevent the reed from pushing into the slot that's underneath it. It just gives a little support from the backside. When you tune, you're going to actually be scraping the reed. So if you want to make the note flatter or lower, you're going to be scraping up here. And if you want to make the note sharper, you're going to be scraping on this end. Okay, so I made a little note so that I could remember which way is up. It's going to be this way. Let's get started. I'm going to start with the highest note up here because I feel like it's the most infrequently played note. I want to practice before I get started. You should want to practice before you get started. One thing I noticed is that this is the first time I've opened up this melodica, and I see that there's been a lot of scraping going on. So that probably happened at the factory, and somebody just had to sit there and tune melodicas all day. So it'd be really interesting to hear what Melodica company has to say about tuning a melodica. They should do a video, huh? Okay, so anyway, first thing I'm going to do is I look at my list, which says that the high G is a little too sharp. Remember, we wanted to have it just a couple of cents above the tuning, so it's going to come down when we blow on it. So I'm going to check it first, and I've got my tuner here. Yeah, it's just a little bit too sharp, so I'm going to put the card underneath. You see how I have the reed isolated and supported with the index card. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to give it a scraping. How much scraping? Not really sure. We're just going to have to test and see. But I want to flatten the note, so I'm going to go a little bit closer to where the reed is attached. Got shiny. Nice, that brought it down into the acceptable range. It's just a little bit above true C. So I'm just gonna keep moving along and tuning this guy. I wanna try and tune the one that was the most problematic right in the middle, which was the D, which is super flat. Yeah, this D is registering as a C sharp, so it's way below. So I'm gonna scrape the tip to try and sharpen it now. Doing this, you can actually see the scrape marks and little filings come off of the reed. I'm just trying to stay right on the very end. That wasn't nearly enough scraping. Well, it's out of the C sharp range and into the flat D, so I'm definitely going in the right direction, but it is going to take a lot of work. I wonder why the D is so bad. It just is really bad. So I'm just going to have to keep working on this one key for a while. Hey! So now it's just on the plus side of D, which is where we wanted it to be. So we should be able to hear a big difference now. All right, that C is really flat, so I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna bore you guys with tuning this whole thing. But you get the idea. It's a lot of scraping and a lot of patience, and hopefully you're on your way. Well, if you've made it through this video, then maybe you have the patience to actually tune this thing. It took about 3 hours. It does sound a lot better. Some closing thoughts here. First of all, I love my invention, and I thank my old roommate Jeff for putting this together for me. It worked great. However, I can't say that it worked any better than the straw. It was just slightly less frustrating because you could aim it better. But the straw works perfectly well. It's still not perfect, but I think it's kind of the nature of the melodica. If you listen to melodica music, especially like Augustus Pablo, there's just something inherently interesting about the slightly out of tuneness. So good luck tuning up your melodica. Thanks for watching Everyday Creativity.